Welcome back, everybody, to Sunday Slot Talk with the Tech. We're your hosts, Brantley and Mark. We are back from G2E, and we are here to answer your questions today and kind of go over everything that we saw at G2E, kind of our thoughts and all the new exciting fun stuff coming out. So welcome back, everybody. I know we kind of took a week off, but we are back. All of the regularly scheduled programming is going to continue this week. So Member Monday is going to be tomorrow. Wednesday night show is going to be Wednesday night, and of course your Sunday show. So everything is back on track. One thing that is brand new, which we have at the bottom of the screen there, is we have some all new products in the store. We have these wonderful, cool wristbands now that are available. We also do have two different types of card bungees, which are in two different colors, black and blue, as well as the poker chips. And just as a reminder, all of those do really go up to help out the channel here. So we do greatly appreciate all product purchases. So check those out in the shop. They're really cool, and they are brand new. So give those a take a look at those when you get a chance. Anyway, so finally back from G2E. We are tired, for sure, to say the least. We are tired.
Right.
We will do Q&As on this live stream today. Mark, what did you think about G2E and everything that you saw there?
I would have to say I have a new appreciation for being in a room without anybody and no noise and peace and quiet after going to that. It was very crowded and being pulled in a lot of different directions, but it was very exciting at the same time. I think the highlight for me was definitely visiting IGT in their booth. I think that they have their game on 100%. Out of all the other vendors that were there, I think Ainsworth is a close second. We talked to a gentleman there who was amazing and gave us some good insight into the games that they're coming out with and they're working on. But IGT really hit the spot for me. Just the whole concept of them continuing to push forward with the classic reels and not giving that up is so strong for me. I was so happy to hear that they are 100% committed to that. And we got to see a glimpse of a lot of those. And if you haven't watched Brantley's recap video from yesterday, definitely go watch it because he has some video clips of some of those newer games that they're bringing back that are just like the classic reel versions, just kind of spruced up in their new cabinet. So excited to hear that. I didn't go to any of the keynotes or anything. I was kind of busy with work, but just walking the floor was pretty fantastic. And for me personally, I got to get a lot of contacts in the parts industry to get some access to parts that I wasn't going to be able to have before I went there. So it was nice to see that. But other than that, would I go again? Probably, but maybe not for as long. I don't know about you, Brantley, but boy, after we walked on Tuesday, we got back to the room and we were just like, peace and quiet for a couple hours, please. It was pretty hectic. So what about you, Brantley? What did you like? I know you did your video, but what was probably your favorite thing that you saw?
Honestly, IGT for sure. Yep. But also Ainsworth. Ainsworth is doing such a phenomenal job with their games. I was really kind of blown away. These must hit by progressive games. Ainsworth is really leading the way in those. We learned a lot. We got to see a lot. We got to see a lot of new games coming out. A lot of their best games like Thunder Cash are coming in new cabinets, which is going to be really, really cool. A lot of these manufacturers were on the same page with making sure that the actual design of the cabinet itself was very user-friendly and very provided a great experience for the player. So I noticed that there's a lot more features coming to games like, obviously phone chargers and stuff like that, which is perfect for YouTube creators because, hey, now I can charge my phone and make sure that it doesn't die. But that was really kind of the takeaway for me. I was disappointed that the Enforcer did not get any real attention or a new cabinet because that was one of my favorite games. But
although if you remember, like one of the things that they said is that they're taking like the base gameplay of some games like Thunder Cash and mixing it up with the bonus from another one and trying to equal bucks and bring them together. So, and I think the most important thing that we heard from Ainsworth, in my opinion, was that they are not going to touch the must-hit by progressives. They know that it's such a big deal with their machines that they're going to keep doing it on just about every game that they put out. So I was happy to see that they understand that that's a thing people really like to look and play.
Oh, yeah. for sure. And I know we can expect to see a lot more of those games popping up in the future. And speaking of more things popping up, one thing we learned a lot about historical horse racing, which was really cool. And the fact that they're going to be popping up in more places. So if you live in a state or if you live in an area that does not have any casinos at all, according to the data and the projections and the analytics, we can start to see HHR machines popping up in a lot more places and really kind of start to, overtake and overrun the casino market. So, get to know those HHR machines, because they're coming in droves. That's for sure.
Yep, absolutely.
But let's go. We'll take a couple of questions here. We'll wrap it
up. With Jessica. No, Ainsworth is cool. We were talking about Aristocrat.
Yeah,
Aristocrat's the one that we attempted to go through the exit, and there's security guards at the exit, and you have to basically go with somebody. You got to be handheld through the entire booth. It's the only manufacturer that did that there, in my opinion. I don't remember any others that were like, no, you can't come in. So they were not very approachable. They had big walls up so you couldn't see what was inside. It's just, come on, guys.
Aristocrat, and again, for those just joining, we are talking about Aristocrat, not Ainsworth. But Aristocrat was the only manufacturer that they had their whole booth on lockdown. Like, they had security around their booth. You had to be on a list just to go in. You had to have somebody escort you around, and they would only show you. It kind of reminded me of North Korea. Like, you can only see what they wanted you to see. You weren't allowed to ask any other questions. You weren't allowed to see anything else. It was just like, oh no, this is our new Dragon Link. Look at this. But don't look at any of this. Look at just this. That's kind of how they were. It reminded me a lot of North Korea. And actually, Gamble the Globe said even with the media tour, they were jerks. Interactive was also not letting anyone that was not a customer. Yeah, I don't know why they would do that.
It's
free.
I mean, we're sitting here talking on this thing. I mean, it's puzzling to me how they don't take that into consideration as marketing. It should be an extension of their marketing arm. IGT fully understands that. In fact, they told us they understand the impact of social media on their platform, and they totally get it. And they're right. I mean, we're sitting here talking about IGT because they're just a kick-ass company. I got to say it.
Yep.
They really want to produce the right stuff that people enjoy playing, and they were very interested in our feedback and our understanding of the new games and all that kind of stuff. And that is just advantageous to them. It's advantageous to the casinos that are buying from them. It's a win-win for everybody. And so when manufacturers shut down and they're like, oh, we don't want YouTube people in here, it's like, I'm sorry, but that's going to catch up with you in the end. YouTube is a wildfire when it comes to looking for new games and what to play and things like that. So it's unfortunate. They'll come around eventually, but it might be a little too late,
Yeah, it's a shame. It really is. It really is a shame that Aristocrat would do that. And for those of you out there, Aristocrat does make the Dragon Link games. They also do make the Buffalo games, stuff like that. So we've always said not to feed the dragons, but now we just have another. We have another.
Right, another reason not to feed the dragons.
Another reason not to feed the dragons, and I think that's really going to bite them in the ass, especially as people start going on.
We also talked about, because one of the things that was always on my mind is, when is this spin and hold feature ever going to die? Because it started, with Lightning Link. I think Lightning Link was the first one. And, we specifically, I remember asking IGT this, and they're just like, we have to make those because it's still hot. The numbers speak for themselves. People just play those games. And they're going to continue to make different variations of those until people stop playing them. And unfortunately, we're not in that cycle right now. People still love the spin and hold feature and the collecting the balls and stuff. And so they're almost forced into that, into that market to keep making those games and different variations of it. And Brantley had some great ideas. I won't share it, Brantley. unless you wanted to, about how we could kind of, you know, combine those with the classic reels or something. But it's just, it's unfortunate. I think a lot of people will probably get burned out of that spin and hold feature eventually. They're still not great games, but they're very flashy and very popular right now. So they're going to keep.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead. We're going to start doing some questions here. We'll just take this one because it was the first one that I saw. Are there skill-based slot machine games? I remember playing a big game, Hunter Slot Machine, in Vegas a few years ago. Yes, there are skill-based games. So here's the thing. There are two categories. So there's the skill games, and then there's slot machines. Skill games themselves are not slot machines. Under the legal term, they're not slot machines whatsoever. However, there are some slot games out there that have, skill features, but even then it's very limited on what the skill can actually do, so to speak. So just know that there is a very big difference between a skill game and a slot machine. Because those skill games aren't slot machines. There are a lot of new skill games that are coming out, and they are getting very, very close to being able to mimic a slot machine. They're still just, obviously, they're few and far between. So I know there's probably going to be a couple new ones coming out in the future, but for right now, they're still very, very separate. So I hope that helps to answer your question there. Thank you for that.
And Tony Tomer says, is there any possibility that someone can tell me why a lot of the people we see online gambling don't go to Laughlin? I know G2E was quite an experience, I imagine. I hope the new games come our way. It could be just policies of the casinos don't allow recording. I know it's a big problem in Louisiana. A lot of the Louisiana casinos do not allow recording. And so if the casinos don't allow recording, you're not going to see it on YouTube very often. If you do, they're going to be very short clips until security tells them to shut it down. And so it's just the nature of some casinos are like that. Some jurisdictions are like that. I think that the games will come your way eventually. A lot of the bigger casinos get kind of first dibs on the newer machines and newer cabinets. But after that initial surge is done, then they'll start to trickle out. But it's also has to do with the performance of the casino. If they're doing super well with the machines they have, they're not going to want to swap those out for anything, even the newer ones, because they won't want to take that risk, especially the smaller casinos that have limited floor space. It becomes very important for them to, not take machines out that are performing really well and people are playing a lot of. So you have to factor that in too. So who knows? I think slowly casinos are starting to change their tune on recording. It's still going to be a problem in a lot of areas, but I think in general, it's a lot more open now than it was 5 years ago. And I think that trend will continue. So hopefully we'll start to see some more out of Laughlin.
Yeah, hopefully.
You're right. All right.
Question here from Chris. Your thoughts on quick hits? They've been around for a long time. I like playing them. Good to play or no, high or low volatility. So the quick hit games, you are correct. They've been around forever. And actually at this point, there's hundreds of I can't even count how many variations there are of quick hits. You've got quick hits platinum, quick hits, all these crazy quick hit games. They are pretty high in volatility. The thing that is cool about the quick hit games is they have retained, at least on some versions. Now, like I said, there's hundreds of versions of quick hits, so I can't speak for all versions. But those quick hit games are one of the few that have a pick bonus that is not predetermined. So that's kind of cool that they've retained that to where it's not actually predetermined and you do have some control over, picking a different square in those particular games. In terms of volatility, I will say this. In my years of working at the casino, and I worked for, 3 different casinos, did we pay out jackpots on quick hits? Yes, but it was very few and far between. It was very, very minimal, the jackpots that we paid out on. I've never paid out a platinum jackpot on quick hits, never even seen one paid out. So, I mean, that should say something. But they're so pretty high in volatility, but those bonuses can be pretty cool. For sure, especially the fact that they're not predetermined, which is nice. So I hope that helps to answer your question. Is it a game that I would personally play? Not really. I mean, I might play it if I have like extra bankroll or so on and so forth. I might play it, but would it be my first choice? No, it would not be. And then really quick, we do have a super chat from the House TV. Thank you so much for that. Super chats really do go to help benefit the channel. As always, guys, we always provide you with free information here on this channel. So things like super chats, the poker chips, product purchases, stuff like that. It really does go to help out the channel. It helps us grow. It helps us get better, and also helps do things like fund new equipment and stuff like that. So guys, thank you so much. We really do appreciate it. The House TV says, my wife only plays Buffalo and Tampa and loses every weekend, a year straight, $1.20 bet, and nothing. Please help. I play random $5 7 jackpot and 22. The Buffalo games are pretty volatile. There's a lot of different versions of them. Some are lower in volatility than others. They're kind of middle of the road. I would change to a different machine, to be honest, a different game other than Buffalo. Now, of course, it always depends on your bankroll and your bet. If you're betting $1.20, I might move to a low volatile quarter machine that's 5-line. So you're playing $1.25, like a 5-line quarter triple stars. Might move to something like that, build your bankroll up, and then move to Buffalo. But yeah, that's the problem with those higher volatile games, is obviously they've got longer swings of, swings of losing and winning and so on and so forth. And then the other thing about them is a lot of times they don't give you your minimum bet back. So, you bet $1.20 and then the machine gives you back, 5 cents and makes a big deal out of it. And that's a problem. Whereas if you were to go to, say, a triple stars machine that's a quarter 5-line and play $1.25, per spin, at least you're going to get your $1.25 back at minimum. So there's that. That's what I would recommend. I would recommend moving to a different machine. So, but thank you for your question. I appreciate it.
Yep. Totally agree with that too, by the way. It's a good strategy. And then Cade Lehman says, is Easy Money as good as Top Dollar? It's a clone from a different manufacturer. So they actually, it's still a Barcrest machine. Now, Barcrest made the original Top Dollar in partnership with IGT. But then Barcrest did a partnership with WMS, which has now been bought and sold many times. And now they're Light and Magic. It pretty much plays the same, but I think the experience on Top Dollar is a lot better. This is from personal experience. I think the music, the bonus offers and everything is way more exciting on Top Dollar. So if I were to choose between the two, I would play Top Dollar, but sometimes Easy Money is the only one you can find, and it plays pretty similar to it. So, and real quick before you pick another one, Patricia, does IGT manufacture video poker machines? They do, and in fact, they have some new ones coming that we saw at G2E. So be on the lookout for those. So they are very heavy into video poker.
They are, absolutely. Let's see. What do you think about Cash Machine? It seems pretty simple and straightforward. It seems pretty simple and straightforward. This is where stuff like Volatility gets kind of tricky because, Cash Machine, you would think just by looking at it would be very low in volatility. It's straight. What you see is what you get. However, that can be kind of tricky because obviously it can go a long period of time without hitting anything. It's pretty high in volatility in that aspect. I know a couple of people really enjoy that game. To me, I really don't have much of a feeling on it. I mean, I think it's kind of a boring game. But then again, I play 3 real slot machines, so like the old school machine.
Right.
So I really don't have
Right.
room to talk on that one.
Right.
In terms of volatility, it's pretty high, even though it looks like it wouldn't be. It's pretty high. It's not the highest, but it's towards that upper end of the volatile scale.
Yeah, I would agree with that. That's not one I would put a bunch of bankroll into. Based on what I've seen and people playing it, it's typically a losing slot. I think the only one that you might want to play if you find it is find the one that has the free games feature along with it. I think it might make it a little bit more exciting than the original Cash Machine. But yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that one either. So.
Exactly.
All right, this one's okay. So we got to address the tattoo situation here. There's been like 50 comments already, so I feel Brantley has a big Pinball logo, and Mark has the Top Dollar one on his back. Prove me wrong. Well, I'm not going to show you a picture of my back, but I can tell you dollar tattoo.
Yeah, no, we did not get any tattoos on this trip. It was really busy, guys. We barely got out of the casino for and then after the casino we had to go from different meetings and events and stuff. It was a very, very packed week. I know
Yeah,
Mark and I are.
I put it this way. Like, this is the first time in the history of me owning a cell phone that I actually muted conversations. I've never had to do that before, but I had to do it on this trip because it was just like, we're over here. Let's come over here. Let's go eat over here. Let's come over here. It's just like, wait a minute, guys. I just need 30 freaking minutes in my room by myself, just to like decompress from walking the floor of G2E. So that's just the kind of person I am. And so it was pretty crazy busy. It was like not a vacation at all. It was very, and of course we were trying to get a lot of videos and stuff in as well and talk about strategies for the channel. And that was taking up a lot of our time as well, which is what we really wanted to go for. So we were just being pulled in so many directions. So yeah, I don't even think there would be time to leave the strip to even find a tattoo parlor, to be honest. It was just
it was very, very crazy busy. I don't know if I could have even taken the time to do that. Right. But it'll be coming eventually one day.
Right.
Maybe.
Yep.
Possible.
You have to get one.
Maybe. Canadian Dice Club, welcome to the chat. Let's see. What's your opinion on gold and silver slots and their volatility? Also, when a manufacturer sets the volatility of a machine, does volatility stay the same in the United States and Canada? So one thing, guys, volatility is not a setting at all. Volatility is not something that is set. All volatility is the nature of the program by design. So that's just going to be how the game is designed and how it acts. And that's really the volatility of it. The only time volatility will ever change on a game is if you, the player, change up the pay lines or anything like that, because that, or if there's games out there that, bet more and get, more balls in the bonus, or, have a higher chance of a bonus, then that kind of changes it just slightly. But other than that, volatility is not a setting. It's just how the game is designed. So, a pinball machine, regardless of the payback percentage, is going to act the exact same, whether it's in the United States, whether it's in Canada, whether it's in Europe, whether it's in anywhere. It's just because that's how the program is designed to work. So that's really the volatility. Gold and silver slots. Mark, what do you? I'm kind of confused a little bit.
I don't know. I'd have to see a picture of it. I'm not really
I'd
sure.
have to see a photo.
Gold and silver, yeah. I can't think of what that one is.
But that's why we always tell you guys too, with volatility, that's the biggest factor with choosing a machine, because it doesn't change and it's going to be the same anywhere. So even if if a casino has a low volatile game and they set it at say in New Mexico and they set it at the lowest possible payback, and then they take it to California and set it at the highest possible payback, the volatility is going to be the same no matter what. That's why we tell you guys you can identify the volatility of machines and use that to choose your machine, because at that point, that is going to be your core staple of picking a machine. And that's what we kind of, and you can pick higher volatile machines. It really just all depends on how you like to play. And then as long as you understand the difference between how a high volatile machine acts versus how a low volatile machine acts. So I hope that kind of helps to clarify that.
And we had
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, do the super chat.
I was just going to acknowledge a $5 super chat. Thank you so much for that. We really appreciate it. Enjoy all the information you give. Thank you. You're very welcome. We really enjoy providing it for you guys.
Appreciate your generosity. Thank you.
We do. We greatly appreciate it. Sorry to cut you off there, Mark.
Go ahead. No, it's fine. So on the topic of volatility, we had a great meetup, by the way, and hi to all those that were able to make it. We very much enjoyed meeting all of you and had some great conversations. And one of the guys came up and started talking to me because I had a, no, don't play the dragon shirt on. And he's like, I got a confession. I do like playing the dragon slots, but he said, but I know what I'm getting into before I sit down and play it. And that's the most important thing for you to consider, is that we are not saying don't play high volatile machines, because some of them are very exciting. Some of them you can actually get some pretty substantial jackpots on. That's a known fact. We're not saying don't play it, but you should know what you're getting into. That's the important thing. Know that it might take a large bankroll, or you may have very long sessions where you don't win anything, not even your bet back. And so as long as you understand that when you're sitting down at the machine, that's all we care about. That's the most important thing. So play those machines, but know what you're getting into. So it's very glad to see somebody come to me say, I'm sorry, I'm playing the dragon machines. I love them. but I know that I can't sit there and win all the time on those like I can on the classic 3-reels. So that's good. It's great to hear that.
And a $5 super chat from David. Here's some tattoo money. Thank you, David. We appreciate that.
That'll pay for the insurance.
I'll give it to Mark.
No,
Mark will get his first tattoo.
If we get up to, let's say, no, never mind. I'm not even going to say anything. So David said, so you enjoyed the new Top Dollar? Yes, I did. And in fact, I'm working on a video tonight that'll go up on Cowboy Slots channel sometime this week with my review of what I thought of the new Top Dollar. And I think Brantley's going to do one on Pinball because those are the two highlights of the show for us. So we're going to talk about those and what we thought about it. So look for that video for sure.
Exactly. It's going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to answer a lot of questions about the new versus the old, for sure.
That's right.
And Richard, first time poster, been watching a while. Welcome, Richard. We appreciate having you here. And you guys can join us every single Sunday. If you're a member of the channel, we have a private members only live stream that happens on Mondays, and then on Wednesdays we have our late night show. So a lot of good fun and excitement. I know we get a lot of you in here. We've got 262 of you watching right now. So if we do happen to miss your questions or anything, come back on one of those other live streams. We do try our best to get through everybody's question as much as possible.
And Kate says 3 were classic quick hit blazing 7s might be the least. Yeah, for the quick hits, I would agree with that. Yep. Those are now they're a little bit more volatile because of the scatter pay on the quick hits than just a regular blazing 7s. Like blazing 7s is one of the top 5, and that's one you should sit down and play. The quick hit version, it's a little bit better, but I don't think it would make the top 5 just because of those scatter pays and the progressives. So, but yeah, out of all the quick hits that exist, I would agree that's the best one to play for sure.
Exactly. David says, "What's the deal with Cherry's Jubilee game at MGM?
Oh,
they have
yes.
$8,000 hand pays and are always paying out. Are they trying to condition players to chase the hand pays?" So, listen, we almost did a video on this, but I got to correct you on one thing. They're not fake.
No, they're not fake.
No, they're not fake. They do pay out all the time, and we almost did a video on it. They're extremely low in volatility, probably lower than Double Diamond.
I think they're pretty dang low. And in fact, the hand pay guys played it after us and won the $1,000 a couple of spins. Those go off all the time, and I'm glad that they still keep those around. And by the way, those are in the MGM Grand, the Cherries Jubilee. But most of the MGM Grand properties, like New York, Bellagio might have something similar. Look for those, the Lions. I forgot what is the name of the Mystic Lions or something. It's a very simple game where the top pay is $1,000 or some progressive that's around that. And then the next pay down is $300. It's kind of like your traditional blazing 7s. It's just MGM's take on it. Those are very good games to play. They do hit a lot. And so I would definitely recommend if you're wanting to just, now they're boring. They're very boring. That's why we didn't do a video on it, because we looked at each other and like, this might be too boring for a video, unless we actually hit the 1,000, so just keep that in mind. But, as we always say, the more boring the slot is, the better chances you probably have of winning something. So
exactly.
Keep that in mind.
And Janet says, where on the website do I take the quiz for volatility on the machine? We have taken that feature down for now. We are redeveloping it. So it is not on the website right now. But it will be back eventually, but we are redeveloping it to make it better and to give you guys a better experience on it. So, but it will be back.
All right. And bonus time slot says, any real standouts from GTE to look for? So, on the Ainsworth side, I was very happy to see, like I said before, that they're basically bringing out new cabinet designs, but keeping the old traditional games alive, like Thunder Cash and such. IGT is doing the same, even on the video slots. Like we saw one that had like Cats and Cleopatra 2, and they have the exact same. They told us it's the exact same gameplay. They didn't touch the math or anything. They wanted to keep it familiar and exactly the same, but they're in these really nice cabinets with high definition graphics, big giant screen. It looks really, really good. So you'll start to see some of those come out. And Plus, we got to play a couple of the games at the IGT booth that they're not really sure they're going to commit to yet. It was kind of there to get interest and gauge interest. And one of them, and I'm sorry I can't remember the name, it was on that back wall, Brantley. It actually has a really fun bonus where these balls kind of going around in a figure 8.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
I can't remember the name of that one, but it was exciting. I thought it was a lot of fun to play. Great bonus round. So hopefully we may see some like that. And just like we talked about before we went, not every game that we saw there will end up on the casino floor. It's kind of like the auto industry, and they're doing the concept cars and things. Like they're gauging interest. Like the managers will walk around with casino operators and say, do you think this would do well? Do you think people would play this? And that kind of stuff. And that's why it's good that they have YouTube people there, because we're giving them feedback too. We're like, yeah, I think people would really like this because it's very similar to this game. And people, like similarity when it comes to slot machines. So I think there will be some standouts for sure, especially from IGT. I just can't say it enough. They really got their game going. And it was proof positive that they understand what people are wanting to play. And they're bringing back those classics, which I think is super important.
Exactly. A lot of new classic games coming out for sure. And a question from Kate, does pinball odds go down when you play only one credit? No, the odds don't change, but I wouldn't play pinball on one credit just because then you're only getting one shot if you do get the bonus. It's one of those games you don't have to play max, but it's really recommended. It's more advantageous for you to play max on pinball. And Top Dollar, you do have to play max unless it's the 5-line version. So, but as for the odds don't change on your bet amount at all.
And Jojo Mars says, when you get a bonus and it says you'll get 9 games and 100 wilds, for example, how do you know the wilds were actually added? Just take their word for it. Yeah, I mean, they are actually added to the pay table. It's kind of a long explanation, but they are added, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're just going to suddenly get full screen wilds all the time. Your chances are still pretty low for getting, a lot of stacked wilds. So it does actually add them. I think it has to, but again, don't get so fixated on that. I think those are kind of, in my opinion, sucker games where they try to draw you in saying, 100 guaranteed wilds. Well, it sounds very impressive when you hear 100 guaranteed wilds added, but if there's 10,000 symbols and there's only 100, wilds, it's not that impressive. So I've seen, in fact, one of the ones we played, there was some guaranteed wilds, and it did not pay well at all.
No, it was awful.
Even when you had you had multiple lines with a 2 and 3 times wild in the line, and it was still not paying that well. So, it's kind of a gimmick. I don't think it's anything that, is going to make this huge difference during the bonus round. So I personally would never play those types of games. That's just my personal opinion on them. Yeah,
it's more of a gimmick than anything, is what I would say. Casino Scoop, welcome. Anything new from Konami? They do have some new stuff coming out. I didn't really notice anything that really stood out about Konami. Mark, did you notice anything that stood out to you about Konami?
No, I think we walked by their booth a couple times, but we didn't really go through it. Mostly because I didn't really see much there. I'm sure they did, but our attention was too drawn to other vendors. So we apologize for that, but
yeah,
it wasn't catchy for whatever reason. We didn't stop by there. So
yeah, kind of low key about the Konami. They kind of were a little low key there.
Right. If you have one, Brantley, go ahead and pull one up. I'm still looking for another question here.
Let's see. Dave, how come I don't find any pinball games that are local Indian casinos? I don't see them at PAL or Pachanga. It's always casino's preference. It really is always casino's preference. One thing that I would really like to add and stress, and this is something that we had talked to a lot of these casino managers, casino directors when we were there at G2E. They do listen to you guys. The casinos do listen to you. A lot of people, when they go in a casino and they're like, oh, there's no pinball here, I'm just going to leave. Tell the management that you want pinball, because then the more they hear from you, the more that they will order it, and they will. It's a very easy ordering process because a lot of these casinos are contracted with a lot of these manufacturers, so they don't have to pay a dime out of their pocket. You walk in and you say, hey, I really want you to get Pinball. You know, I've seen the new versions, I've seen the old versions. I really want you to get Pinball. It's getting really popular. The more they hear people saying that, all they have to do is make a phone call to IGT and it'll be at their door in 2 days.
Right.
Nothing out of their pocket. So, you know, it really is all casinos' preference. But I can't stress this enough, is really talk to these casinos, like that they do listen for your feedback. And so they want your feedback. So tell them what kind of games you like. Tell them what kind of games you don't like, and they will listen. You know, obviously it might take a while because it's, you know, giant corporations, but they do listen to you guys. And I'll pull one more up here for you, Mark, from Clever Girl. Paperless thoughts. There was a lot of talk about paperless, you know, casinos going paperless and stuff at G2E. It's been in the talks for years. I think it's going to be very slow to adopt. We'll have to see. We will have to see. I think it's going to be very slow to adopt. I'm pretty sure it's coming.
No, it has to. Yeah,
100% sure it's going to happen. But it's probably going to be slow to adopt on that.
Yeah, it's one of those things that, like, I mean, what if it's paperless? What are you going to do? Is it going to store on your card, or are you going to use your cell phone to track your money in and out? I mean,
I would think it would go.
There's not a single app on this phone that is bug free, so that would scare the crap out of me to have this be maintaining my cash in and cash out. Yeah. So I think it's a long way to go when it comes to stuff like that, but it is coming. I agree with you, Brantley. I think, you know, just like the coins disappeared, the ticket in, ticket out will disappear. Bill validators and such are becoming kind of a commodity. I mean, even casinos are having trouble finding those. And so it's one of those things that it is going to eventually evolve to that. But I think it's like Brantley said, it's a long ways away before we get like mass adoption. I think if anything, the cruise industry might be the first, because they're kind of partially the way there, where you use your cruise card to add credits and it just charges your card. So there is no bills. You don't need to put bills into those machines. But they still cash out in tickets, I believe. And so maybe they will be the first to say, oh, we'll just put it back on your room card. So there could be stuff like that. Who knows? It'll be slow going, though.
Yep. It's coming, though.
Yep.
It is coming.
Michelle says, hey, guys, love your channel. Thank you. Question, how can you tell when a machine is at a maxed out major or grand? What is the usual maxed out amount? Well, you don't know what the usual maxed out amount, because it's configurable by the casino and the type of game it is also. You know it's maxed out when it's at a round number and it's not moving. That's probably the easiest way to tell.
Pretty much.
If you see all the other progressives on the screen, you know, there's 3,650 and 42 cents, stuff like that, then it's probably not maxed out. But if you see one that's been at 5,000 for days, it's maxed out. But remember, and I got to say it, remember, maxed out does not mean it's due to hit anytime soon. It's just the most that type of progressive can pay out at any given time. And so, again, the way it works is if somebody finally hits that, whatever amount it growed after that gets added back to the reset value. So that money isn't lost. It's maxed out to you, the player, meaning that that's the most you can win off that progressive. But the casino doesn't bank that extra money. It gets put back into the minimum when it resets. So, but yeah, don't think because it's maxed out that it's due anytime soon. That's a dangerous way to think. So,
exactly. And one question, any new video poker games featured at the show? There was actually quite a lot. There was a lot of video poker games featured at the show. A lot of the classics in new cabinets and a lot of new video poker games. We kind of briefly skimmed over those. But yes, to answer their question, yes, there is a lot of new poker games coming out. And I'll take one more, Mark. Question from Zach. If I'm playing Triple Stars multi-denom and I hit all three triples on quarters, would I have hit it on dollars? Does it play the same on each denom? The answer is no. So each denomination is programmed separately. It's basically on those multi-denomination games. Picture it, if you've got 4 different denominations, it's essentially 4 different computers. Picture it like that. They each have their own accounting record. They each have their own different percentage, and they're entirely independent from each other. So if you're doing really well on one denomination, you might not do so well on another one, and vice versa. So just always keep that in mind. So if you did hit the triples on quarters, would you have hit it on dollars? The answer is probably not. It's possible you could have, but it would be extremely rare. So I would say no on that. Good question, though.
Yep. And Dave Williams says, when is the best time to play the slots? Whenever you feel like playing. We have to reiterate that there is no time configuration in slot machines to pay out at certain times of the day or after certain things occur. Like there was a big night and people put a lot of money in, so it's got to start flipping around and start paying. All that stuff is false. And we talk to the actual manufacturers and the people that build the math and logic inside of these slot machines. And when we told them, or we asked them when's the best time to play slots, they kind of just chuckled and shook their head. This is a myth that's been around for a while. There is not a good time to play slots. There's no time that you can nail down that it's a good time to play. And again, like we always say, you as a player cannot manipulate a slot machine, period. There's nothing you can do, taking the ticket in, taking it out, letting it reset for 5 minutes, waiting until 3 p.m. when everybody else leaves to play, all that kind of stuff. There's nothing to it. It may happen, and it may happen more than once, but it's such a small sample size. You can't really, gather anything off of that. So again, we talked to the manufacturers and the people that actually build this stuff, and they said that can't be done. It's a flat percentage. The game runs, and that's it, period. So play when you feel like playing. Don't wake up at 5 a.m. because you feel like that's the only time you're going to win. Just play when you're comfortable playing.
Exactly. Good answer there, Mark. Let's see. A question from Rob here. Has there been any movement on increasing the taxable jackpots to 5,000? No, there has not been any movement on that. And again, that is something that not only is out of the casino's hands, that's out of the casino industry's hands altogether. That would be your good friends in Washington, D.C. that control that. So, anytime somebody has a question about, why is the tax limit the way it is, go talk to the president. Go talk to the president about that, because that's not the casino's choice. But has there been any movement on it? No, there has not.
It needs to change.
It needs to change, but
we'll see.
Yeah.
We probably got more important things to worry about right now. I think that's probably it. And then Harris says, question, I have a 5 times pay that says game EEPROM CRC mismatch. What does that mean, and how can I get it fixed so I can play it again? So most likely you need to do a clear and a key on that machine. If you'll send me an email at homeslotsfun@gmail.com, I'll see what I can do to get you in the right direction there. That's probably what the case is there.
Exactly. Good answer, Mark, and thank you for helping us out there too.
Yep, no problem.
Always with good information there.
I try anyway.
Let's see. Having a hard time finding double diamond. It shouldn't be too difficult to find double diamond. It's in most every single casino. I know that some casinos only have specific versions of it. I'm trying to think of any casino that doesn't have double diamond.
Well, I think also the issue is that a lot of them are in the high limit room, and that may not be your bag.
True.
You may not be wanting to play that level. I think pretty much every high limit room has at least one double diamond in it. I mean, there's exceptions, but ask them. We want a double diamond in here, and I don't want $100 double diamond. I want $1 one.
Exactly.
I'm sure they can find them. The double diamonds are everywhere. I see those constantly on the private market, so they're out there. They just need to get them in.
There are tons. Following up on that last question that we had from Gamble the Globe, he said he spoke to the American Gaming Association's president on the increase of hand pay the hand pay amount, and he said there's been nothing new and it's not a priority in Washington. So there we go. Yeah. You're according to Washington, you're not a priority.
Probably because according to the IRS, you're not a priority. They like to get as much money as they can. So
right, yeah, that's. Wait, you want the government to take less money?
Right.
That's not going to be a priority.
You can't just take money away and not replace it with something else. I mean, that's
right. Exactly
what you got to think about. So Jezebel Love says, "How's the meet and greet?" Mark's video was quick, but gave us a peek. Yeah, it was fantastic. And again, I'm sorry we didn't do a bigger video, but again, we were just being pulled. Everyone wanted to talk and meet and greet, and it was exciting. I was thrilled to see all the other slot channels there. And especially talk to you guys. Big shout out. We had a gentleman from Hawaii come out to meet us and gave us a little gift bag, and I still have it sitting here. I haven't plowed through the chocolates yet, but it's coming. But we had a great time. It was really, really heartwarming to meet all of you, and that you watch us religiously and you take our advice. And we heard so many stories. In fact, there was somebody who played a 5-line top dollar for the first time in their life. They have never thought about playing this game ever, and they got the 3 double diamonds for $20,000 at Aria. I was so thrilled to hear that. That game is such a good game to play, and she was super excited because she would have never played it. And so that was, it's always good to hear stories like that our tips and our strategies are actually working, and that you guys are sticking to the right games to play and not getting pulled in by those awful video style, high volatile Game of Thrones type video
dragons. Really got a dragon in it.
Dragons, yeah, no dragons. So no, but we had a great time. It was a lot of fun.
Exactly. Let's see here. Looking through some questions here. There's one. Sir affects a lot. Exactly how negatively does free play affect your odds, if at all? So free play does not affect your odds of the machine. The machine's odds are not going to change at all. The machine doesn't know where those credits are coming from. It just knows that there's credits coming into the machine. The only thing that makes free play different is how it gets registered into the accounting system of the machine. But as for the odds, your odds are exactly the same. There's no difference in odds when it comes to free play. So I know we've clarified that in a few other videos as well, but there is no impact on odds when it comes to free play. The only thing that makes it different is just how it goes into the accounting record, and then that depends on the type of system that the casino uses, because there are different systems for free play. There's an older system out there where it uses a voucher. There's the most common system now is just coming directly off your player's card. But there's different systems out there that register different into the accounting. But as for your odds, nothing changes. So I hope that helps to answer your question.
Yep. And Karen R says, are top dollar machines considered volatile? Depends on which version you're playing. That makes a big impact. Single line top dollar or single line double top dollar are pretty low in volatility. The lowest is the 5-line regular top dollar, if you can find it. Those are becoming difficult to find. But the 9-line 5-reel version is a no-no. Stay away from that one. Top dollar deluxe, top dollar premium. Basically, if it has deluxe, premium, platinum, supercharged, like all this stuff in there, it's probably not very good on the volatility.
You can always tell the volatility of a game based on how long the title is.
That's so true.
Double diamond, super ultra platinum deluxe mega multiplier. Yeah,
that's right.
You can always tell the volatility by just the title of the game.
So true. So true. And real quick, I'll get another one here, Brantley.
Yeah, go ahead. You're good.
Going to Las Vegas in 10 days, any casinos on the Strip that may pay better than you can recommend? No, the Strip is pretty balanced on pay percentages. I would not worry about that. Again, you're not going to notice during your trip if it's paying well or not. Budget. Bring your cash box. Budget your time there. Play the games that we tell you to play. Or if you play the games that we tell you not to play, just don't put a lot of bankroll through it. Those are the things that I want you to focus on when you're going in to a Las Vegas casino. Whether you're on the Strip or you're off the Strip, doesn't really matter. You're not going to notice any kind of pay scale being better or worse at certain casinos. You may seem that way in the short term, but again, it's a long-term play. You're not going to notice it while you're there. So have fun, stay within your budget, keep your winnings. That's what we want you to focus on.
And Mark, you can pull another one up if you've got another one. I'm still looking through.
All right, let's see.
We got a lot of questions here, guys, so we're trying to get caught up on some of these that are backlogged here. Here's one from GB Commander Fox. I showed up kind of late. Did anyone ask anybody talk to IGT about saying anything about the pinball bonus, the 5 bottom row numbers, how it gets hit? So, on that, it is possible, and we will leave it at that.
Yeah,
we'll just move on.
I will say one thing, and this isn't. We can't say anything else about it. But we asked him, why is it so difficult to get all 5 in the bottom area, and he kind of just smirked.
Exactly.
It's difficult.
It is possible. It is possible. It does happen, guys. It does happen.
It's not 1,000 credits. It's 1,000 plus 500 plus 100 plus
1675.
Right. It's a big win.
It's a big bonus. It does not happen a lot.
It's so hard to happen. Yeah. It's
exactly. It does not happen a lot.
Getting all 5 down there. Yeah.
Absolutely does happen. And really quick, we do have a super sticker from John Duvall. John, thank you so much for that. We really do appreciate it. We appreciate you guys being here. And again, we do appreciate those super chats and super stickers. So thank you very much. And then Riley says Super Mega Ultra Dragon Link Deluxe. No. Yeah, that would be a no. Absolutely.
That one I'd probably smash with a hammer if I saw it.
Absolutely.
Or I'd put a big sticker on it saying, don't play this game. Dragons.
Yeah, no. Don't feed the dragons. Don't feed the dragons. I'll take one more, Mark, and then I'll let you grab one from Jay St. Andrews. Do Indian casinos have different rules or have no gaming commission? Machines are tighter for me, so I always stay away from Indian casinos. That is the biggest myth of all, and we have covered this countless times. Indian casinos have more regulations than non-tribal corporate casinos do. They have a federal set of regulations that they have to follow. Then they have to have special agreements and all of that. They are actually tighter regulated than a corporate casino. And actually, from my whole experience, because I've worked at tribal casinos, not only have I worked at tribal casinos, but I played at tribal casinos. For me, if somebody were to come up and say, hey, would you rather spend $1,000 in Vegas or $1,000 in a tribal casino? I would go to the tribal casino. I have had much better luck in tribal casinos. And not only that, but the tribal casinos that I know of, that I've worked at, that I've played at, everything, they have much better odds, and they have everything is better about the tribal casinos. I really don't understand why people don't like tribal casinos. I know that there are now, the one thing I will say with the tribal casinos is it is very, very different from area to area. So you could go to a tribal casino in Idaho. You could go to a tribal casino in New Mexico. You could go to one in Arizona or here in Wyoming, and they're all going to be vastly, vastly different. But in the general grand scheme of things, the tribal casinos actually have much better odds than the corporate casinos do, because when you think about it, they have to compete for business more. And they have more regulations. They have more safety nets. They're watched more by the government. So tribal casinos are, in fact, far better than any other non-tribal casino. To be perfectly honest, I would be perfectly happy never going to a corporately owned casino ever again and just sticking with tribal casinos. I have won more money there. I have had better luck there. You get better service there, hands down, all around. Now, I can't speak for every single tribe in the country, but at least the tribal casinos that I've gone to are much better.
Just not the ones in New Mexico.
Yeah, and New Mexico was the only ones I really didn't like.
Mexico,
yeah, New Mexico were the only tribal casinos that I really didn't care for much.
All right.
And even go ahead.
Oh, you're good. And Neff TV says, after your back-to-back pinball hits on the $100, would you play at that denomination again? I don't know, Brantley. Would you?
I would play at that denomination again. After those two those two major hand pays. So guys, really quick, let's talk about this. So, you know, I played $100 pinball and I got the bonus, and then I got a back-to-back bonus. That is not the first time that I have gotten a bonus back-to-back. It was awesome that it happened on $100 pinball, and we ended up walking away with, you know, $12,500 in the end. And I was done. I was good. I'm not going to keep pushing it. That was big enough for me, and I was happy enough with that. I cannot stress this enough, though, guys. Pinball and Top Dollar are two games that have a very high bonus and are also low in volatility. If you get the bonus on those two games, especially at a higher denomination, you're going to get a jackpot. You see more jackpots on Pinball and Top Dollar in the high denomination than any other slot machine in the high limit room. And the one thing that I really want to stress on that, guys, is first off, it does not happen all the time. So even though it's a low volatile game, it just means it has a higher chance of happening, but it does not happen all the time. We got extremely lucky. I would not recommend to anybody to go and risk your entire life savings on $100 pinball. I would not recommend it at all. We got very lucky. But guys, it is not just like that. Period. It is not. Sometimes it happens. Sometimes it doesn't. When it does happen, naturally, it's going to be big just because that is the way the game is designed. If you were to watch somebody and all they play is pinball, and you ask yourself, why is it that this person is always getting jackpots? Well, it's because it's pinball. That's just how the game is designed. It's the game design by nature. Now, probably, I mean, who knows if it's going to stick around for, you know, hopefully it sticks around for a very long time. But Top Dollar and pinball, the reason why a lot of these people win so much on it and win so frequently on it is because that's just how the game is designed. That's why it's popular. That's why it is the way it is. But no, it is not as simple as just walking up and, oh, put it in, click it, and I got it. It does not happen all the time like that. So just understand that even though it's a good game, and even though it does pay out a lot when it does hit the bonus, and it's my personal favorite game, I would not recommend anybody just to go and, you know, dump a whole bunch of money into it. You know, we did it on this channel because it's something that I had really wanted to do. And I put in an amount that I was comfortable losing, and had I lost it, okay, perfectly fine. But just don't get caught up in all of that, because with those games, it's not as simple as just like that. So just know that.
Yeah, I mean, a perfect example is Double Top Dollar that I have in here. I have gone on sessions where 15, 20 minutes of spinning and I don't hit the bonus. And then other sessions where the bonuses come fairly frequently, and it's just kind of all over the place. It's an average. And so can it happen? Yeah, I think when I turned this machine back on, when I got home, the first spin, I got the bonus. It can happen. But we want to make sure you guys understand that it's not always just that easy. It really isn't. It's the frequency of the bonus is low, and so it's a good game to play because of that, like Brantley said. But don't expect it all the time to be like the first time you spin it, you're going to get the bonus. It does happen, but it's not as frequently as you think. So just be careful.
It does happen. I mean, and guys, here's the thing. Of all my years of playing pinball, because I play pinball a lot, because I play it so incredibly frequently, I have had many instances where I have gotten pinball back to back. We have had a couple videos on this channel where we've gotten pinball back to back. Same thing with Top Dollar, but that can also be said for this. For the same thing with any bonus game. You can always get the bonus back to back. It does definitely happen, but it does not happen all the time, and we don't want you guys to, you know, think that it's going to happen all the time, because it doesn't. It doesn't happen all the time.
And remember, kind of to keep going with this conversation, it's that there's no patterns to look for either. Every single spin is a separate event. Like the random number generator and the pay table does not have any clue what the previous spin was and how much it paid or anything like that. Everything is an independent event. So yes, he got the bonus back to back. He could have kept getting the bonus back to back another 5 times. It's not probable, but it could happen. And it's all because of the odds of the machine and the way it's programmed. It's not because of some kind of feeling or anything like that. There's no patterns to look for to say, you know what, I better do a backup spin here because that bonus is coming again. It did, but it could have easily not. That's the important thing.
And again, it really is just how the game is designed. I will say this, Pinball and Top Dollar are great games. They are phenomenal games to play. If you have a high limit bankroll and you want to play high limit slots, play a Pinball or a Top Dollar. They're wonderful, wonderful games to play, and I would highly recommend them.
And by the way, that is why those are all in the high limit room.
Exactly.
High limit players are creatures of habit, that they want to play what they know will get them good wins. And that's why they're all in there. And that's why all the main floor is filled with all those penny machines. There's a reason for that. High limit players would not have it the other way. They would not go to a high limit room that had a bunch of, just no 3 classic reels, just all lightning links and dragon links and huff and puff, and that's it in there. They would not have it. They need to play those true games that have always done really well for them. And Pinball and Top Dollar are in just about every high limit room you can find, and there's a reason for that.
Exactly. It's just naturally a good game to play, guys. You don't need any. If you have a $5,000 budget and you want to try to play a really high limit machine, pick Pinball and Top Dollar. You don't need anybody else to tell you what to do. That's just naturally going to be your best game to play. I don't know why, obviously you wouldn't want to take that and put it in any other machine, but it's Pinball and Top Dollar is just an overall great game to play. And I mean, we stress that all the time now, but we also at the same time stress don't think you're going to win all the time, because you don't win all the time. That's why it's gambling.
Right. So that's why it's gambling. Yeah, exactly.
That's why it's gambling. And Gamble the Globe Statistics 101. Anything is possible, just not probable. And that's very true.
Right.
That is very, very true.
Yeah.
I'll take one more here. Sir affects a lot. I don't think I've ever lost the slots at the Las Vegas airport. Any info on if they program higher odds or something like that? I know it might just be perception. I would say it's perception. And part of that, we have had so many comments from people actually saying the opposite. And this is kind of where, it's good that you mentioned this, and it's good to put this up on the screen, because you've got this group of people over here saying the airport slots are the worst. And then you have this group over here saying, I've never lost at the airport slots. It's really random, guys. Are you at the airport every single day to be able to really tell, or are you just going off of your small sample size of, when you were catching your connection 3 years ago? It really is all perception on that. But they don't program them any different. There's a lot of wide area progressives at the airport. I know there's a lot. Most of the Wheel of Fortune games are actually located.
A lot of them have been hit there too.
A lot of them have been hit there too. Yep. A lot of them have been hit there.
My advice for airport slots, though, is this, whether they're high or low, you're not getting any comps. You're not getting any free drinks. Like, if you have to, play them, but save your money for the real casino experience. I think you'll have a better time.
Exactly.
So.
And Richard, really quick, Cowboy, can you say hi to Millie, my 83-year-old mother? She loves you. Well, hi, Millie. How are you doing? I hope you're doing well. Absolutely. I would love to say hi. So there's that. So thank you very much for that. And I'll take another one here. Florida Todd, what is the most you've won on $100 Wheel of Fortune? So we've said this a few times. So if you are going to play Wheel of Fortune, the $100 single credit Wheel of Fortune is the best one. The only reason why is because everything on the wheel is a jackpot. So if you get the wheel, you're going to get a jackpot. No matter what, hands down, you get the wheel, you're getting a jackpot. Same can be said about, like if you're playing $100 pinball or Top Dollar, you get the bonus, you get a jackpot. But with the Wheel of Fortune game, the $100 single credit Wheel of Fortune is actually pretty good to play. The most that I have won on it in a single spin was $16,000. That's the most I've won on it. And kind of going on what
never played it, so I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah. This kind of goes on what Mark just said. Why is Wheel of Fortune always in the high limit room? High limit players know what good games are. And that's one thing, that's one actually kind of an added tip that I can give you guys here in the live stream is if you ever want to know what are good slot machines to play, look in the high limit room, because the high limit players are the most listened to. They're the most picky, and they know the most. And those are the people that are there playing slots every single day. And the casino caters to high limit players. They listen to high limit players. They know what high limit players like. They know what high limit players like to be paid. So if you look in the high limit room, you know what you're going to see? Pinball, top dollar, double diamond, triple stars. That's what you're going to see in the high limit room. You go out to the main floor and look, and you're going to see all these penny machines of, super mega ultra dragon wilds and, pots and flowers, multipliers. I don't know. So guys, look in the high limit room. If you really want to know what a good machine is, look in the high limit room. And then if you're not a high limit player, but you want to play that game, go find that game on the main floor, because chances are they have a different version of it on the main floor. So definitely always check the high limit room. And Mark has something to show everybody.
So comment, I got to put it on here. There's a shirt for you guys. So my wife actually made one, and I was wearing it. So
don't feed the dragons. Show them the front.
Don't feed the dragons, guys. So guys,
we've got to get those. We've got to get those up on the store.
Yeah, we're gonna get these up on the store for you guys, so you can walk around. Yeah. Don't feed the dragons.
Right. And speaking of store, guys, once again, we have all new merchandise. In addition to the poker chips, we have these really cool wristbands that say "Rope the Jackpot," and they've got cowboy slots embossed on the other side. And then we also have the casino card bungees. We've got them in blue, and we also have them in black. They're really cool, guys. Product sales help the show out. They help the channel out. We do provide you guys all the all free information. So stuff like the super chats, super stickers, poker chip sales, merchandise sales, those do go to help out the channel a lot. And help cover our time and obviously the effort.
We really appreciate it
for us doing that. So we really appreciate it, guys. And yes, Susan says we need those shirts. We do need to get those shirts. Yeah. I love those shirts. Those shirts are so cool. They're really soft.
Yeah, we'll do
guys. They're actually really
good. These are high quality shirts. These are not ones that
super high quality.
My wife knocked it out of the park. I didn't even know she was doing it, and she surprised me the day before we left for G2E. So
yeah, that was cool.
Very cool. Very cool.
But all right, guys. Well, we are actually well over our hour mark. We are at an hour and 7 minutes. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to say farewell for right now. But as a reminder, Monday, tomorrow is our Member Mondays. As if you're a member of the channel, you can come back for a members only live stream. And then if we did miss your question, we have our live stream on Wednesday nights. And then also again, Sunday afternoons. So once again, guys, thank you so much for joining us here on the Cowboy Slot channel. We absolutely love having each and every one of you here and getting to answer all of your questions. So guys, until next episode, we'll see you next time.
Take care, guys.